Honor to the black woman. 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 We exist everywhere as a fragment of information traveling from one body to another.
When you study history, we've only been destroyed and been down underneath the banner of Christianity. Anytime we've not been under a religion, we thrive.
You know that within the neuromelanin that is contained in the DNA cartridge of black people, there is a condensed element found in our melanin that is similar to stardust, which collects information from certain star systems every time there is a full moon. Not only that, but this same substance that is found in our melanin is used in telecommunication boxes within the satellites in space. And this is how we pick up on one another when we are communicating through our cellular devices. This same condensed stardust found in us is found in the DNA of the sun. This is how we bring the truth of the ingredients together when we say that we are light beings. When tissue from the light is trapped in an atmosphere in an area of high friction, as the sun is found to be, this tissue over a period of time becomes a lighter component in the form of the sun itself, but in a smaller fragment becoming condensed. So if you consist of this same element whose foundation is light, then by default, if you consist of neuromelanin, you are considered a light being made up of components which assist us in the communicating between various universes. Because we like to say that darkness is darkness, but it's also a form of light. It's the highest form of light. This is why we consider to be light beings. All right? When you are going from we are all living in a universe that is being projected from deep down inside of each and every one of us. And because we are our every thoughts, which is energy, we exist everywhere as a fragment of information traveling from one body to another throughout time and space to occupy the DNA of the universe. For the mere fact that you are hearing my voice is in me in the form of sound traveling into you, meaning that when you leave this life, you will take a part of me with you, and you will run into someone who will remind you of me, but in all actuality, you will be experiencing a deja vu moment from residue of me, which travel into your subconscious from this life into your next life. Physical DNA does not identify us because we are not physical entities. When we analyze light, we are analyzing a component which is assumed by the common people as an agent that helps you to see. But little do you know that when the volume of light is at its brightest, this same light can also blind you as well. Darkness is the highest vibration of light wave frequency because when it reaches its highest peak, you can no longer see it in the physical state. Light, when it reaches its highest vibration, becomes darkness. So to the Moors who are in the audience, we are not white or light because of the physical characteristic of classifications. We are light because our frequency is so bright that we appear to be dark. So yes, darkness is a form of light at its highest frequency. We are light beings. It's unlocking certain DNA codes. So without further ado, we're going to bring Pharoah to the front. My great brother, S.O.S. Put our hands together.
Thank you. All right, peace, family. What's going on? All right, this presentation right here is titled Hijacking a Human Being. We are like entities. Before I start, I want to thank you all for coming. We want to get started on time so we don't be here crazy late. So thank you for those of you who came early. So for the family who come late, fill them in at the end, please, on what they might have missed so far if they ask any questions. And without further ado, let's jump into this presentation. Now, in this presentation, Hijacking a Human Being, we will be breaking down in order what is metaphysics, how our soul is born, how did the spiritual world create the physical world, how is the physical body connected to its spirit body, what is the difference between a human and a ghost, do spirits possess intelligence, can the non-physical world affect the physical world, our spirit is good or bad. We will be breaking down the evil spirit agenda once we differentiate the different frequencies between good and bad spirits. We will be breaking down hijacking a human being, what that is, in detail. We also will be breaking down setting up the evil environment that is needed to hijack a human body. And we will be breaking down anything that can conduct electricity can be possessed. And I will be showing in this things other than human beings being possessed and operating and conducting electricity due to their containment of the element known as carbon. And last but not least, we will be breaking down getting rid of evil spirits and taking back your body. Now, if you want, you can leave that back door open too, just so when people come in and out, it don't squeak. Now, jumping into this. Before we break down hijacking the human being and getting into possession, or basically spiritual intervening within the physical world, we have to understand what is the study of the non-physical world. This would be what you call metaphysics. So when you hear anybody talking about metaphysics, they're talking basically about spirit science. Now, we know that in science, it speaks a different language than the common man and woman or than the ancient ancestors. So instead of me saying your soul or the spirit realm, if I was a scientist and I had a lab coat on, I would say, John, go open the cabinet on the metaphysics research we're doing. So now with that being said, what is metaphysics? Now I have 3 dictionaries at home. None of you can come to my house and validate what is being said in my dictionary, so I don't put those definitions up. I use screenshots of Google from my phone. You can see I was actually on the phone for 4 minutes and 39 seconds here to let you know that what I show in these presentations are nothing but factual, and I use common everyday knowledge that can be researched and validated by anybody in this room at any point in time that you want to. So with that being said, when we're dealing with metaphysics, the definition of metaphysics, according to Google or public information, is the branch of philosophy that deals with the first principles of things, including abstract concepts such as being, knowing, substance, cause, identity, time, and space. Now, key in on where it says the first principles of things. Things is what? Physical, tangible. These are the first principles of tangible things. So when you want to study physics, if you want to know the origin of physics, you retrace it to its metaphysical parent. So we understand that the spirit realm created the physical realm. Now, the word metaphysics is actually 2 words in one. First, we have to break down the first initial syllable of the word, which is meta. Meta is an English word which denotes change of position or condition, and also denotes behind, after, or beyond. AKA that can be translated to past, present, or future. So we want to key in on the word beyond. We know that meta means beyond. When we're dealing with physics, physics means the branch of science concerned with the nature and properties of matter and energy, the subject matter of physics, distinguished from that of chemistry and biology, includes mechanics, heat, light and other radiation, sound, electricity, magnetism, and the structure of atoms. Second definition for physics: the physical properties and phenomena of something. So metaphysics means that which is beyond the physical properties and phenomena of something. Y'all follow me? So metaphysics is a scientific term for basically saying I study the spirit world. So people who chase ghosts, ghost hunters, paranormal, all that are metaphysical researchers. So don't let nobody scare you away from spirituality or act like spirituality is not a part of science. This is what these Caucasians do with these machines, and this is what they play with all day. So now that we understand what we're getting into here and what branch of science I'm using to show, hope, and prove that your human self can be hijacked, let's get into this. How are souls born? A lot of y'all might have seen me use this image on side. None of this is very relevant, so I'm using it again here. How are souls born? Right here where it says the creation, this in science is called a plasmic wormhole. Now we would call this the womb. So when you hear just us as normal people talking about everything was born in a womb of space, or you hear Egyptians talking about Nut, or you know the great cosmic mother, this is what they talk about. And if you look closely, this looks like a vagina. It looks just like a womb. This in science, they don't call it the womb. That's our language. They call it a plasmic wormhole. Souls are born out of plasmic wormholes, and they travel across an electromagnetic grid across the cosmos until they get to what we call a galaxy. Now here we have our galaxy, which is the Milky Way galaxy, which is the 18th galaxy. Now in this galaxy, your soul travels, inhabits a body on whatever planet it inhabits it on, lives a life. Now whether it dies a natural or unnatural cause of death, depending upon your frequency, you will be able to pierce the atmosphere, pierce the solar system, pierce the galaxy, and return through the cosmos. See where it says returning souls back to the Creator. So when people talk about, oh, when I die, I want to go to heaven, this is where you're trying to get to. Just to give you a blunt definition, you're trying to get back to your higher self. How do you get back here? Just to give you some extra info. At the moment your soul is ejected from this body, you must be vibrating within your seventh chakra. Because this has a vibration that is beyond all physical phenomena. So only if this is like people say, get in your highest self, this is your highest self. So if you're not in your highest self upon death, you're not coming back to the Creator. So what happens is you have to keep reincarnating until your frequency is high enough that upon whatever lifetime you choose to pass away at the correct frequency, you're able to merge back with your higher self and become one with the Creator. So people be talking about, oh, I'm living for God and I'm trying to get back to heaven. You're not living for God if you're not in your seventh chakra. You living to reincarnate and come back. That's what you're living to do. So, this is the electromagnetic grid that I was speaking about the soul travels on. Remember, you are a bolt of electricity. The soul is a current of electricity. Soul, solar system, soles of the hands, soles of the feet, solar plexus. You get your soul from the sun, you get your body from the planets. So, you can see you're born in the womb, which science would call antimatter. Why anti is the opposite of. So this is where they're saying non-physical life begins, but intelligence exists. You're born here. You travel along this electromagnetic grid. You got galaxies. You skip the galaxies. You come to the 18th galaxy, Milky Way. You use the stars as a portal to basically navigate your way through the solar system. Boom. You get to our sun. You get to planet Earth. You have a physical experience. Now continuing on here. Before we show you how you're being hijacked, I have to connect you to the Creator. So before we get into all the juicy information, you have to have a proper understanding of how this can happen. A lot of people just going to tell you that it's happening. I'm going to show you how it's happening, so at the end when I show you how to cleanse it, you have a full understanding of what I'm talking about. Now, before there was a physical, there was a spiritual world. I'm going to say that again. Before there was a physical, there was a spiritual world. Now remember, once again, I showed y'all this plasmic wormhole. All of this is physical. This is where we live. You don't see this. When you go outside and you look up at the stars, you see this. You don't see this. This is what's far beyond the stars. This is where scientists want to go. Where they don't need, I hope they don't ever get there, because we know what people do when they go somewhere they ain't want. They need to destroy the goddamn Creator himself. So with that being said, this is far beyond your reach. This is heaven right here. So now, when you're dealing with what created the physical world and intelligence, now there's a branch of science that nobody want to just talk about for whatever reason, so I'll be the one to do it as I always am. It's called information science. Now in information science, they teach that all information does not come randomly, it doesn't come spontaneously, it don't just poop out of the sky. Information comes from a mind. It doesn't say source, it says a mind. So when you got a cell phone, your cell phone don't just cut on and call numbers, it comes from a mind, you. And the little bit that your cell phone does do is called artificial intelligence, and that itself has a mind, aka Siri. You can ask Siri anything you want and she's going to tell you. She might even say, I don't know. So this shows you that there's intelligence there, and science is called artificial intelligence. Now why is this important? Because the sun, Ra, came into existence through an intelligence, through radio frequency that we're finna get into right now. Radio frequency is sound messaging. Now, usually we read from left to right. This diagram I have here is from right to left. And y'all can see this pointer okay? Yes. Okay. So y'all see radio? Notice that the electromagnetic wavelengths are farther apart, opposed to as you go towards the left and they become more condensed. This is where the sun first began. The definition of radio, when you look it up on Google, when y'all leave here, type in radio definition and tell me I'm lying. It says, radio, electromagnetic frequencies most common to carrying sound messages. So we understand that the sun is voice activated. So when I came back last time and I did the lecture and I showed y'all the Bible is based off astrology and I broke down how the part where it say, and God said, let there be light, and then sun. Sun in Greek means helios. Helios means, holy in Greek means helios. Helio means sun. The Bible means sun book. So they technically were not lying when they said God said let there be light. The Creator, the plasmic wormhole, through intelligence, electromagnetic frequency, spoke the sun into existence, and through the sun created today what we call the solar system. So the sun is voice activated. The sun is not fire, like a lot of people like to think. The sun is a big ball of electricity. It's a giant metaphysics battery that keeps everything running that it touches. So now, why is this important? Because now that we established that the cosmos created the sun, now we're going to connect you to the Creator through the sun. Now, as the sun begins to vibrate higher in frequency, we're going to go to the visible light spectrum, which is the middle of the spectrum. When we get to the color red, once we get to 405 terahertz and 400 to 480 terahertz. Now we're finna warm up. Now we're getting it, so we finna get it on, family. Boom. Last little introduction to keep y'all with me. Terahertz. A hertz frequency period is an electromagnetic wave. So 1 hertz will be this. That's 1 hertz. Now you got kilohertz, which is 1,000. You got gigahertz. You got megahertz, which is 1,000,000. You got gigahertz, which is 1,000,000,000. And then you got terahertz, which is 1,000,000,000,000. So 1 hertz is this per second. 1 electromagnetic wave per second. 1 terahertz will be me smacking this table 1 trillion times in 1 second. So imagine beating that drum 1 trillion times in 1 second. So when you get to 405 terahertz, basically when that sun is whacking at 405 trillion times per second, the color red is produced. So the sun begins to create physical life at 432 terahertz. Now why is it important? Because anything below that is non-physical, but yet it's still intelligent. When you get to the middle, 432 terahertz is about right here, but yet life is still being created all right here. So this shows the existence of an intelligent being. Whether you want to call it God, Allah, whatever you want to call it, it damn sure exists. So now, this is how you're connected to the Creator. Notice that the electromagnetic spectrum is the colors of the rainbow. We finna get into chakras. Your chakras are the colors of the rainbow. But I want to show you the frequency. 405 to 480 terahertz is the color red. Then as you go up, you get the orange, yellow, green, baby blue, about navy bluish this should be, and then purple. Notice how the frequency goes up. This is the same with your chakra, your lowest self. Your lowest self is the color red. The sun's lowest self is the color red. Your highest self is the color purple, your 7th chakra, which is needed, that you need to be vibrating on in order to get back to the Creator. That's the color purple. Your highest self is the color purple. Now why is it important? Because through science we understand that rays of light actually carry intelligence and information. So you actually get intelligence from sun gazing and eating organic food. So now, the sun, as it begins to condense and it begins to vibrate past 790 terahertz, as we get to here, the more it condenses, once you exceed 790 terahertz, you get melanin. So every black person in this room, your melanin is created outer space. So when you watch Spider-Man and they showed the symbiote come from outer space, that was a little subliminal message to show you that your melanin comes from outer space. Melanin has its own intelligence. Your skin can actually think without even notifying the brain. This is why everyone got the best reflexes. This is why we do everything the best. Your body has a brain within itself. So now, as you can see, right here, when we get the gamma rays and all that, and cosmic rays, this is where melanin is being created. So now it is through the melanin that you absorb yourself, that's yourself, which is the sun, and communicate with yourself. Now your chakras, which are centered down, which are located down the center of your body, each octave of the sun communicates with you through each octave of your chakras. So your lower self, which is red, communicates with the lowest level of intelligence through the sun. Your second level, the second highest level of yourself, which is your navel chakra, communicates with the second level of intelligence through the sun, and so on and so forth. And your highest self, which is the 7th chakra, communicates with the color violet, or will be the highest level of intelligence through the sun. So depending upon what frequency of yourself you're existing in mentally, is going to dictate what level of the sun you're communicating in. Now here's the kicker, before we get right into this lecture, because now I gave y'all baby food, I'm going to give you the plate. Entities and intelligence travel through electrical current. The first physical manifestation, remember, as I broke down the definitions, before you get to physics, you got to deal with metaphysics. Electricity is physics. The metaphysical's origin, or basically to keep it simple, before electricity becomes physical, it's a thought. Your body is controlled by what? The nervous system. And the nervous system is dictated by your thoughts. So if I want to tell my arm to raise, I have to think about it first, then do it. And all of these electrical currents are running through the body to make sure this happens. So now why is it important? Electricity is dictated by the sun. Entities live within the sun. Depending upon what kind of entity I want to deal with, depending upon what level of the spectrum I want to go on. So if I want to call a demon, all I need is a machine that can get me from 405 to 480 terahertz. So now when you're dealing with hell, or when you want to go to religion, they always tell you hell is red, it's fire. Because we're talking about the sun. We're talking about the lowest level of the sun. We're talking about the lowest level of intelligence within the cosmos. So you can treat this like the neighborhood. This is where the gangbangers live, okay? Everything got balance. So So don't think it's only good out there, it's bad out there too. It's whatever aspect you want to tap into with your free will. So now that we broke down that entities exist, how they exist, how intelligence travels along electromagnetic waves, now I'm going to break you into how your body came into fruition so that I can connect your body to this, and then after that we're going on. We're showing you how you're being manipulated, we're going to show some possessed dolls, and we're going to get crazy. Now, with that being said, how did the spirit world create the physical world? Through what you call ionization or the charging of atoms or creating elements. Now what is ionization? I want y'all to imagine that these planets are not here, but keep these orbital lines in your head. What happens is, once the sun gets to what you call a solar maximum, it explodes. Boom! Now what happens is, rays of light, because if y'all know anything about outer space, you know that everything is neutral. There's no air out there, no oxygen. It's just space. It's just potential energy. It could potentially become whatever the creator thinks of, but yet it is not at this time. It's just space. It's not occupied space. So now we're dealing with how planets and humans are created. What you got to understand is, rays of light strike an atom. Bang! So picture you getting struck by lightning, you become electrocuted. When an atom gets struck by sunlight, it becomes electrocuted. But in science, they call this radioactive, being radioactive or being radiated. So now, this is how elements become created. Now I'm going to give y'all an example. The first element is hydrogen. The second element is helium. So when you're dealing with a periodic elements tables chart, y'all always see the rows, like row 1, row 2, row 3, row 4. Whatever element is in that row is just to tell you how many electrons it has. So the reason hydrogen is in row 1 because it only got 1 electron. Helium is in row 2, not only because it's the second element, but because it only got 2 electrons. So I'm going to use these first 2 elements to prove my point. So when sunlight strikes, let's say sunlight strikes a helium atom. Boom! Now in order for an atom to become unstable, it has to give away an electron for it to become back stable. So now this helium atom gives away 1 electron, it downgrades to a hydrogen. But that hydrogen, who only had 1 electron, accepts that helium, that element, that electron, and it upgrades to a helium. So now this is how elements are created. You got atoms getting struck, boom. Some of them give off 4, 5 electrons, you got oxygen. Another one give off 3, you got nitrogen. So this is how elements are created. Now that elements are being struck by sunlight, once the sun gets so hot after being in existence for billions of years, it's too powerful for its own self. So it explodes. Boom! And the power from this supernova, from this kamikaze, pushes these elements that were created trillions of miles across space. And what happens is these elements, in science they call it stardust. No such thing as dust out of space. It's just a whole bunch of elements floating across the cosmos. What happens is they get caught up in these gravitational orbits of other suns. And what happens is they begin to blend. Just like you take an apple, a lemon, and an orange, you put it in a blender, and get the blending them, you get a fruit smoothie. When you take elements and you get the blending them, you get a planet. So this is why planets rotate and orbit around the sun, because once all they were was just stardust, and they get cooked, and the sun is like a giant oven. So now what happens is, stars explode, push these elements across the cosmos, these planets begin. Now just like when you bake a cake, it don't just come out hard and ready and edible. It goes through a biochemical state. So what I mean by biochemical, it's like half solid, half liquid. You know, you lick it off the spoon. We all do. We know what I'm talking about. That state. Planets do too. So now why is it important? While in its biochemical state, planets create what you call prokaryotic cells. Now they won't tell you in science we're made up of eukaryotic cells, but they don't know how to differentiate our biological composition from the Caucasians. So now let me do this for you, for the people who don't know how to differentiate. A prokaryotic cell is scientifically known to be the oldest cell in existence. Anything that has been in existence since ancient times is made up of prokaryotic cells. Only thing made up of eukaryotic cells is new life, and most of that's unnatural. So when you get dinosaur bones, those are made up of prokaryotic cells. Trees, prokaryotic cells. Apples, prokaryotic cells. Black people, prokaryotic cells. We the oldest living people on the planet. Don't let them white people tell you we made up of what they made up of. Right. They tell you that we made up of eukaryotic cells because they're multicellular organisms. But then remember, according to science, black people are 100% human beings. White people are 96% human being, 4% Neanderthal. That's 2 organisms in one. They're the multicellular organism. So don't let them lie to you. Now, when space creates the prokaryotic cells, these cells become seeded on planets, just like everything else is here. Apples, trees, everything that's natural was created on this planet from outer space. We were too. You don't hear trees talking about something. Where do I come from? I wonder where I come from. You came with the planet. Black people are the only people we act like we don't understand that we came with the planet. We just don't know where we came from. So now, with that being said, this is how all human life and all life period is created on the planet. Now let me connect you to the planet. I done got you to the creator, I done got you to the sun, I done got you to how the planet was created. Now I'm going to show you how you connect it to the chakras. Once again, how is the physical body connected to the spirit body? Now that we showed you how the physical realm is created. You get your soul, which is, your soul is just an electrical piece of intelligence. Now, you get your soul from the sun, you get your body from the planets. The sun dictates your heart, eyes, and blood circulation. The moon helps influence your stomach and your uterus if you're a woman. Hence, women get their menstrual cycle as the same cycle as the moon. Boom. Mercury, the planet Mercury, helps dictate your nervous system, brain, and speech organs. The planet Venus helps dictate your organs of smell and touch. The planet Mars helps dictate your muscular system and genitals if you're a man. This is why they say Mars is a planet of war and you're aggressive, because we know when you and your lower self, you're very aggressive, men. Jupiter, the planet Jupiter helps to dictate your liver and your lungs. The planet Saturn helps to dictate your bones and your skin. The planet Uranus helps to dictate your pineal gland. The planet Neptune helps to dictate your ethereal body, which is the body that your soul uses to interact with the cosmos. The planet Pluto helps to dictate death, or what we like to just call life change. So once you're no longer in this body, the planet Pluto gives off a frequency that allows your body, that allows your soul to exit this body at an easier rate. Now this information comes from a book titled Making Sense of Astrology. This book was $30. After I did a lecture and I mentioned it, no lie, they raised the price to $1,200. Wow. So if you can find this book for $30 again, call me personally, please. Now, the chakras keep the soul connected to the higher self, shown in the next slide. Remember I showed y'all the electromagnetic spectrum of the sun? This is a diagram of the human chakras. You see the sun has a lower self, you got a lower self. And as the frequency of the sun begins to raise, the frequency of you begins to raise. So this is the most negative level of anybody in this room. Now we finna get real, because TV, media, and food, and anything else you could think of that you do on a daily basis, all vibrates you right down here. So your favorite TV show got you down here, don't got you up here. And stuff that gets you up here, you think is corny. You don't want nothing to do with that, because that's whack. That's not love and hip hop. That ain't popping. So we gonna show you how you being hijacked. Now that I've connected you to the sun, once again, the sun, electromagnetic frequency, the electromagnetic frequencies of the sun communicate with you as an individual through your chakras. How? Because the sun, the cosmos speaks frequency. It don't speak no language. So for those that's waiting for the sky to open and God to say, make a left at the corner, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. It speaks frequency. So when it's speaking frequency, you get feelings. Some of you might be walking up the street and be like, man, I shouldn't walk down here. Let me cross the street. And then a gunshot go off. And you be like, damn, I was just over there. Because you listen to the frequency. Your chakras, you get communicated with through the chakras. Listen to the chakras. They're not going to lie. That's why people say your first instinct not never going to lie to you. Because it's not. It's coming straight from that plasmic wormhole I showed you, the creator. Listen to it. This is a diagram of what the cosmos will look like if you were looking at it through thermal goggles. Colors. Remember, everything starts off as a color before it becomes physical. Period. So now why is it important? Notice these are the same colors of the chakras. Your blackness is just condensed, melanin is condensed sunlight. All that blackness that you see out there in the cosmos is all that blackness that you see in your skin, your hair, your eyes, and all of that. And these colors that you see within the cosmos is the chakras of the cosmos. Now chakras by definition, they are just energy vortex centers which input and output energy. That's it. It ain't nothing spooky about it. Don't let them lie to you. You might as well call the socket in the wall a chakra. Input and output energy. So let's understand that the universe speaks frequency, and everybody that's melanated is connected to the cosmos through their chakras. Now, this is an electromagnetic grid. How is the physical body connected to the chakra? How is the physical body connected to its spirit body, part 4? This is an electromagnetic field of the heart. This is what you also might be familiar with as the torus energy. Hence, the sun has one of these as well. Now, this is an electromagnetic grid of the cosmos. This is what you call the cosmic blueprint. Why? Because anybody who knows architecture or building design knows you have to start off with a blueprint for everything. Now, why is it important? This is what space looks like before anything is created. Notice you don't see any planets, you don't see no galaxy, you see nothing. You see planets and stars and galaxies distant, but here you see nothing. Because this is all potential. This all has the potential to be. So you are connected to this grid through your personal electromagnetic field. And this is also known as the aura. So depending on how healthy your aura is, depending upon how strong your connection with this grid is. Now why is this important? In order for me to hijack you, I gotta weaken this. This is like your force field right here. Once I wear this down, once I tear this down, I'm up in there. Now notice, this is made strong by what? What do y'all think makes this strong? The heart. The heart. Why? Because the heart is probably the most powerful chakra you got. So the heart has to do with will and the will to create. So if I tell you that you ugly and that you stupid and that you ain't got no history and I ban white supremacy on you all day and I oppress you, I'm weakening this. So once I weaken this, you have no protection to the crown chakra, which is the highest level of yourself. So now you can't never access the higher part of yourself to save you from the lower part of yourself, which is that root chakra, that red. So now once I weaken this, I'm up in there. Well, I'm in you now. Okay. Now that we showed your connection to the cosmos, we broke that down. I showed you how you're connected to the Creator through the chakras and the importance of keeping your chakras healthy. Now we're going to get into the juicy part. Spirits exist at a certain level of density. Once again, spirits exist at a certain level of density. So for those who may not believe in ghosts or spirits or whatever, I don't know what's going on with you or where you've been living. But it's definitely paranormal entities running around this planet. So with that being said, why can't you see spirits? Has anybody here seen oxygen today? Have you seen oxygen? No, you have not. The only time you see oxygen is when it's cold outside and you see your breath. Do you know why? Because heat actually spaces out molecules. So gas will be like this, a liquid will be like this, and a solid will be like this. The molecules will be more close. Now why is this important? The reason you can see your breath in the winter is because the oxygen molecules are more close. So they're more dense, so your eyes can pick it up through the light frequency. Now a spirit is vibrating at the highest level of electric charge that it can. It's not dense enough for you to see it. So with that being said, this is why you can't see no damn ghosts. And some people can see ghosts once you blur your vision or you look out your peripherals, or some people vibrate, the megahertz frequency of the brain vibrates high enough for them to be able to pick that up. Just like you got cameras. When you do photography, you don't use every camera for the same thing. They got underwater cameras to pick up what's underwater due to the density level. So when they come to us, when it comes to people that's psychic, a psychic or somebody who can see or communicate with a ghost is somebody who is just able to change the radio frequency of the body to match that of the paranormal world in order to have an interaction. That's it. Nothing spooky. This is metaphysics. Now why is it important? Because you have beings within the lowest level of the sun that are being communicated with through the government, and as I'm finna go into, wish to have a physical experience, as I'm finna go into. Now, without giving too much away, this is the eye. Do y'all see that ray of light coming through the eye and being interpreted by the brain? Now the tree is thick, so you can see the tree. You can't see that. This would be a diagram of spirits that's floating around outside right now. You can't go outside and see those because they're not dense enough. So once again, we're going to prove the existence of spirits and entities in this lecture. I'm showing videos and all of that. But I just want to break it down through science. Because some people just, if the white man don't say it, you would not believe it. I want to break it down through science that, yes, there are spirits, yes, there are entities. You just might not be vibrating high enough to pick up on them. And a lot of it's due to the diet. The diet is one of the most number one reasons black people are still down today. Now, what is the difference between a human and a ghost? A human is a word defined or placed upon you while you are in this body having a human experience. Because when you die, they call you what? A corpse. So now what's the difference between a corpse and a human? Exactly. So understand that words are energy signatures used to describe the understanding of the mind. So when you in this body and you operate it, you call it a human. When you're dead, your body is called a corpse, but you are called a ghost, spirit, whatever you want to call it. So words are just used to signify different stages of your existence. Now, just like when you're in a car, when you drive, you call it a driver. When you park and you get out, you call it a pedestrian. So this is you when you're a pedestrian in the spirit world. And you out your body and it's parked. You ain't driving no more. Now, why is this important? every 2 months, the brain actually regenerates itself and intakes an entirely different atomic molecular structure. So why is this important? Nobody in this room has the same physical brain they had 2 months ago. But y'all can remember stuff from years ago, right or wrong. Right. So that would mean thoughts are not physical, right? Okay then. So once you exit your car, or you exit your body upon death, you take your goddamn thoughts with you. They don't die. You stay intelligent. Because remember what? Thoughts manifest themselves first as electricity. So you are just an electrical current of intelligence, navigating and expressing that intelligence through this body, this car. So the car don't drive you, you drive it. Now with that being said, when you leave this body, if you wicked and you want to use yourself to do evil from the other side, the spirit world, whatever you want to call it, we on this side will call you a demon. Just like if you on this side and you raping kids, we will call you a pedophile. So understand, this is just like you can walk up the street and run into a group of bad people. You can go in the spirit world and run into a group of bad people. The unrighteous intent does not change. It's just that they don't have a physical vehicle to express their evil will. So now this is where the Illuminati and everybody comes in. To say, oh, you don't got a body to express your will? We'll give you one in exchange for the intelligence that you possess, because we want that. So now let's get it on, because we finna get fired. Let's go. Okay, now. Do spirits possess intelligence? Part 1. Let's prove that spirits possess intelligence. Because a lot of people might say, how can you think if you don't have a brain, you know? And I'm trying to show you that the thoughts that you carry are not physical. Your brain regenerates every 2 months. But for some of you who don't understand that you can be intelligent, this is a vocal cord closed, correctly? Y'all see that? This is a vocal cord open, right? So now I want y'all to tell me where I'm going with this, because I like to interact with the people to keep the brain, keep the frequency high. Why am I showing these vocal cords? Nobody want to guess? Alright, I'm going to go. Alright, tough crowd. Let me start. Alright, listen. The lane I'm going with this is to show you this. In order to speak, you have to have a vocal cord, right? So how the hell is people hearing voices without no physical vocal cord? Ain't nobody here never heard a voice or a ghost, be honest. You thought you did. So now, how is this happening if you don't have a physical body to express this? Because all you have to do is vibrate at a certain level. You can manifest the effects of having a physical body without having it. All you got to do is match the frequency. Just like water. Water ain't a cement block or a brick. Jump off a cliff and belly dive into it. You would think you got hit by a train. Because at that speed, you causing the water to match the frequency of a solid object, even though it's a liquid object. So understand, everything has to do with speed and frequency. So now, to prove that spirits are intelligent and that you can vibrate at a certain level to cause an effect on the physical realm without having a physical body, you have what is called electronic voice phenomena. Now, what is electronic voice phenomena? Within ghost hunting and parapsychology, electronic voice phenomena, also known as EVP, are sounds found on electronic recordings that are interpreted as spirit voices that have been either unintentionally recorded or intentionally requested and recorded. Now, keyword on requested. If you can request something from me, I'm right here, right? So you have to first know that you can interact with me. But in order for you to request me, you have to have an understanding on how it is you want to go about doing that. So if you want to request me, as you're sending me an email, you're sending me a text, as you're sending me a piece of physical mail, how are you interacting with me? Now the point I want y'all to deal with, it says interpreted as spirit voices, either unintentionally recorded or intentionally requested. Who the hell is requesting spirit voices? And if you're requesting a spirit voice, what are you asking the spirit? So this goes to show you that even in the Caucasian, this is Wikipedia, and I'm using public information to let you know what they are willing to tell you. They are letting you know through this that we are requesting information from spirits. We let you know that they speak. And if you don't believe you can't speak without a voice box, here go the Caucasian telling you right here. So let's understand what's really going on here. Now this right here, family, if you don't believe still, before we get into this, because some people need their mind stretched. I've learned this doing lectures. I'm going to show you a spirit speaking right now.
What you're about to watch are some of our EVPs that we caught live on our investigation at the Christchurch Priory in England. When you listen to these EVPs, you're going to hear "My name's Glenn" come up. Now if you go back from episode 1, which we done 2 years ago, all the way through to episode 76. Count how many times that you actually hear my name Glenn and also Ahmed's name as well. It is absolutely shocking, which should show people that the ghost box does work. Because why would we have our names being said during an investigation as it's scanning through all the frequencies at a fast pace? These EVPs never fail to impress me.
Hey Glenn, yeah, it's Glenn.
Are we in any danger? It just said it's got me.
Are you making me want to walk this way? It's not maybe half.
Straight. I mean it. This EVP coming up next is absolutely incredible. It seems like we have a spirit or entity telling us that the devil has just been. Listen to this.
Devil is coming. Devil is coming. I heard that definitely then. Did you hear that? Definitely.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I did. When you analyse that, you'll hear that, yeah?
Devil's coming where? Surely not here. Where is it coming? Are you warning us?
Just been. Just been.
B-G.
Okay. So the point of that video is to show y'all family that you can definitely possess intelligence while you're outside of this physical shell, and that white people still ain't gonna leave you alone when you leave. So you might as well get rid of their ass right now. But outside of that, all jokes aside, so this is what they're willing to show you. But this is not, it's way more than this. They're using that serum machine to connect with all kind of demonic entities, and they're trying to actually merge realms right now, which I'm getting ready to go into. But this is to show you that when you outside of this body, you still possess intelligence, and you still can interact with people on this realm, on this dimension. 3D dimension just means density level. So just like when you draw and you got 3 dimensions, this is the 3rd level of density. So when you die, you're at what they call the 4th level of density, but you still can interact with the 3rd level of density. So let's not be confused by the words. Now, this is, can the non-physical world affect the physical world? So now that I'm breaking down, family, before we go into this science and go off, I got to keep stretching your mind. I just showed you that you can possess intelligence outside this body. I just showed you that you can still be interacted with. Now we want to see, can you, from the spirit realm, cause an effect on the physical world?
In this video we take a look at 5 of the most chilling CCTV videos that show paranormal activity. Number 2. Ghost attack in a Malaysian hotel. In this very creepy video that was allegedly captured in the Malaysian hotel, we can see a chair moving on its own, and a door slamming shut. The video then cuts to a room where a woman is alone and is sitting on a chair. Behind her we can see another chair that slides out on its own, and the woman appears to get very nervous. Moments later, a chair in front of her moves by itself and the woman jumps up and falls to the ground in fear. She then tries to escape the room, but once she starts running, the entity moves several objects to the door and blocks her in. She hits her head on the table and seconds later appears to be unconscious.
That's right. Right. Okay. So you still don't believe in ghosts, huh? So now, family, because I'm walking y'all in this, we prove that you can be intelligent outside of this body. We prove that you can still cause an effect on this world outside this body. Now we're going to prove that somebody actually wants your goddamn body. And that the Caucasians is helping them get it. So let's get down to business. Okay, our spirit is good or bad. We proved the existence of spirit. By now, I hope that you understand that this is such thing as spirit. Our spirit is good or bad. On the left, this is a depiction of one of the positive spirits, you could say. If this spirit actually exists, don't ask me. I just wanted a depiction of a positive African spirit, typed it in, it came up, looked African to me, I'm using it. So right now, he's good. Now on the left, a lot of y'all, how many of y'all feel like, how many women in here ever feel like they feel somebody breathing on them or having sex with them in their sleep? Raise your hand. Y'all never felt like somebody was like breathing on you when you sleep? Like, raise your hand, be real. You, her. Let's be real. That's who this is right here. So this entity would have left this planet on a plane of lust. And he said, you know what, sex was so good, I'm not going there. I'm still going to roam Earth and try to do what I do from the spirit realm. Let's be real, because this stuff people scared to talk about, but these is real life problems that people have. Or you have nightmares that's people holding you down, you can't get up, and your chest feels something. This is why. And don't nobody want to deal with this shit, because they scared. So we going to deal with it. Okay, so this is a negative entity right here. Now this is what a lot of y'all experience. You know? So we're gonna clear this up. Our spirit is good or evil. You damn right. Just like some people are good or evil. So today we're dealing with the evil because we ain't got to deal with the good. They're dealing with themselves. We're dealing with the evil today. Okay. Evil spirit agenda. Notice we use the Caucasian because they're the physical manifestation of evil. White reflects light. Anything light is sunlight. Light is created by the Creator. Black absorbs and digests the intelligence of light. So the fact that you are even biologically white, you actually reject the information and intelligence that's being shined upon you by the Creator itself. So why would I accept your act? So with that being said, and there's not a secret or a coincidence why they always coming out with scary movies. They made about 4 or 5 paranormal activities. They the ones who made up Freddy Krueger. They the ones who made up Jason. You can't go to Egypt and find no damn Freddy Krueger on the wall because we don't think on that frequency as black people. How many of y'all in here right now have thought up one horror character that you would make into a movie, factually? Like how many of y'all say he gonna look like this and he gonna kill people like this? How many people made him up? You know why? For real though, being serious. Because your mind, your African mind don't dwell like that. So who sits and think about it though? Let's be serious. Who sits in a room and say that he gonna come out the closet and just chop her neck off and he gonna live in her dreams? Nobody makes this up. You only create what you mentally have created first. And you only think along a plane that you spiritually exist on. If you ain't no creeper, no pedophile, you ain't gonna be attracted to no kid. But if you are, you'll be attracted to kid. Because your psychology is reflected by your spirituality. Period. So with that being said, these are the hosts and the puppet masters of demonic entities because they genetically manufactured beings by demonic entities. Now, evil spirit agenda part 1. Evil spirits use the white race as a host in order to exist on this dimension, the physical plane. Whites have calcified pineal glands as well as a lack of melanin. Both are used to tap into and download information from the sun, solar system, and universe. Due to being locked out of the universe, Caucasians summon spirits who have yet to reincarnate and allow them to possess themselves as well as the people of our planet in exchange for information. It is hard to possess and control the melanated body. This is why the white race was created in order to be used as a host. Now let's get into the science, baby. Okay, we went too far. Wait a minute. Okay. A lot of y'all might have seen my summoning ritual video up now. I'm going to break it down. The sun travels at 70,000 kilometers per hour across the galaxy. It takes the sun 2,160 years to travel through a zodiac. So now we're going to just say 2,000 just to keep an even number. It takes you 2,000 to travel through a house. So it might take you 2,000 to get through Taurus, then 2,000 to get through Aries. Now why is this important? The stars are portals for your soul, as we showed. The soul travels along the electromagnetic blueprint of the cosmos, and it enters within different galaxies through the sun. So let's say if I wanted to go to a planet within Orion's belt, I would have to go through this sun, go through the electromagnetic field, and then come out of one of the Orion's belts, and then inhabit a body on that planet. So now why is it important? If I live within a star system known as Aquarius, damn it, and I want to live on Earth, Earth is being pulled by this sun. So let's name this sun Joe, just to give it a name. Joe ain't going to the age of Aquarius, let's say another 1,000 years. So you won't get a chance to reincarnate on Earth for 1,000 years. by divine law, but you can come here if I sacrifice somebody's body for you and allow you to host them. So basically, people who get possessed are just being victimized by spirits who don't want to wait in line. I don't feel like waiting 3,000 years to get a body. I want one now. But now, why else is this important? Because remember, sunlight carries intelligence. So there are things that are just simply impossible for you to know until you get struck by that specific sun. So we talking about, like, for example, we in the age of Aquarius. Different information is being downloaded now. Everybody's waking up. Why didn't black people been wake up? Because we wasn't getting hit by this sun frequency. So now, why is this important? If I want to know some ancient information of what happened 10,000 years ago, I technically can't never know that until the sun comes back around to that age. But I can cheat. Just like if you in school and you taking that test and you text your man and ask him for the answer, I can summon a soul that exists in that time and ask him, what were y'all doing back then? And he'll still obtain that information because he's still within that frequency. So now in exchange for this information, I might say, well, why should I tell you how we built the pyramids? You gotta wait, champ. But I'll tell you, if you give me a body, and I want this type of body, and I want it this tall, and I want it like this, because I want to be able to do this. So the Caucasian says, okay, I got you. And then here you go to my next page. This right here is in California. Now, this is the Bohemian Grove. Not making this up. This is not no Photoshop. This is an actual photograph of Caucasians summoning a... You see this spirit in the fire? Y'all don't see that? It looked like a dragon. This is the actual photograph of these crackers summoning an evil spirit in Hollywood. Y'all hear me stress Hollywood 900 times. This is the actual photograph of them doing a demonic summon. The Illuminati's, Freemasons, whatever you want to call them. Devils, all graphic devils. This is the actual photograph of them in the Bohemian Grove summoning the evil spirit. Why? Because in exchange for the intelligence that this spirit is going to give, they're probably going to use a celebrity and allow them to host a body. Now let me break down the science of this real quick. Let's say I'm a rapper and I'm on stage and I'm rapping, da-da-da-da. Y'all all fans. Now just like them fans out there, what are they doing? It's pushing energy. So now if I'm a soul and I like killer energy, I like murder energy, I'm going to inhabit a gangster rapper. So now while y'all all like, yeah, 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 as soon as I get to the part that say, shoot him in the head, that's everybody's favorite part. So y'all all be like, shoot him in the head, and y'all all throw me y'all energy. And I host this rapper, might be Lil Wayne or something, host him for the night, and then kick me back, and I go. So this is how the Illuminati works. This is why they call it selling your soul. Because maybe you might do a concert for 2 hours, and it was only you for 12 minutes. And I was on the stage, sucking in all the energy because this is what I like. So if I'm a lustful person, I might possess Nicki Minaj. And I might be up there rapping about twerking and doing splits. I'm going to keep it PG-13 as kids in here, but I might be up there being sexual. And everybody in the crowd throwing me that sexual energy. So in exchange for me to host your body, I give the Caucasians who got you up here allowing me to host you information that they would never have because due to them having calcified pineal glands and no melanin, they can't download nothing from the cosmos because they're not supposed to be here. So now I'm giving y'all the science right now. I'm going to show you how you being hosted. Okay, I just broke this science down about traveling, so I'm going to go into it again. Evil spirits wish to have a physical existence. The Caucasian race has made a deal with these entities. That deal being that in exchange for information, they will create circumstances that will weaken the energy fields of humanity, allowing them to be possessed and hosted by these negative entities. Now the definition of environment is the circumstances which influence a living organism, as I stated before. Now I'm going to show you this again so you can see it in your face. Right now, we right here. We at the cusp of Pisces and Aquarius. In exactly 18 more years, which will be on the correct calendar, 15,120. But right now, we're on a Gregorian calendar, 2016, so we're going to deal with this. In 2034, we'll be in the Aquarian age. So now, why is it important? If I'm in Leo, let's count. 2,000, 4,000, 6,000, 8,000, 9,000, 10,000. So if I'm in Leo, I got to wait 10,000 more years before I can exist on Earth. Because the sun is not going to pull it around for 10,000 more years. And this is why when you look at black people, when you study history, we've only been destroyed and been down underneath the banner of Christianity. Anytime we've not been under a religion, we've thrived. But outside of that, everybody right now is being made to be a host, not only through the help of the sewing machine, which we're going into, but through the food, acidic food. When you look at the pH scale, it goes from red to purple. Red to purple is what? Colors of the chakra. 90% of what everybody in here eat, if you ain't vegan, is putting you in your lower self. I lower your megahertz frequency. Now, why would I want to lower your megahertz frequency? Because the lowest frequency you can be and still be healthy is 62. But colds and flu start at 57 to 60 megahertz. So you would never catch a cold if you wasn't under 62 megahertz. Now, disease starts at 58 megahertz. Candy and overgrowth starts at 55 megahertz. In order for you to become receptive to Epstein-Barr, you have to be at 52 megahertz. In order for you to become receptive to cancer, you have to be at 42 megahertz. In order for you to begin to die, you have to be at 25 megahertz. Now your megahertz frequency would never lower if your diet wasn't poisonous. But for two, if you wasn't intaking negative frequencies from technology around you. Even this laptop is giving off megahertz that's lowering my frequency. Right now I'm just talking. So understand that. You don't think white people know about these megahertz? You don't think that they know, Joe, put that show on so they can go down 13 megahertz today. And then after they go down to megahertz, we're going to send a clone out there or something called a bomb, and when they die, all their energy going back to this entity we sacrificed. See, when you look at wars and things like that, wars are always started on certain days of the year, either Tuesday or Wednesday. Go look at it. When we went to, when America went to war overseas with Afghanistan and Iraq and them, they went to war with them, I believe, on a Tuesday. Or the Tuesday going into Wednesday because that was Mars energy, masculine energy, God of war energy. And all the soldiers had certain emblems on their uniforms, and when they got slaughtered, there was a blood sacrifice to that entity that the Caucasians was conjuring up for intelligence. So this is all Masonic ritual, and this is all chess. This is chess, okay? This is chess, not checkers. And everybody being used like pawns in exchange for information so that they can be sacrificed. So now, this is to show you that the Caucasian, I'm showing you that he knows about frequency. He knows it. And this is what he gave you. This ain't what else he knows. So now this shows you that you was brought over here so that it can be easier for you to have your frequency lower. Because in Africa, it's nothing but alkaline food. So why would you have a low frequency based off your diet? So I could bring you over here for you to have a low frequency. In Africa, you can walk outside and see a pyramid. So I could have to tell you that you was a Christian. I can't lie to you in your homeland. I cannot come to your house right now and lie to you. I can bring you to my house and lie to you though. So I had to bring you over here where you could be manipulated. Now, setting up the evil environment part 4. Now we took African people, boom, brought them over here, boom. Now, after slavery, we understand that religion was forced on us, we was indoctrinated, we was psychologically manipulated, boom, 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 we was told we was ugly, black is ugly, black man versus black woman, turn a black man homosexual, so they can check the black woman while we had a black woman check the black man. Everything's put in place now. But what you see today as modern America. Slavery was nothing more but the setup today. So now let's break this down. One nation under mind control. This is what people cannot let go. And I don't just mean the TV, I mean entertainment. Some people love to be entertained. But you don't understand you entertain yourself in a ritualistic form to get yourself possessed. You don't even know, even the way shows come on and the images they show in the songs, it's all lining you up to open you up to the frequency that you need to be on so you can be happy. Now, television is one of the biggest tools used to not only weaken the energy field of the melanated people through its electromagnetic radiation, but it's programmed to think and behave in unrighteous, to think and behave unrighteously on a daily basis so that they can engage in acts which attract these evil spirits which the host them. Every action has a frequency. The worse of the act, the lower the frequency the person is vibrating. Now let me go into this science real quick. The heart chakra, they say love is key. The kingdom of heaven is through love. With love, you can do all things. They're talking about the heart chakra. The kingdom of heaven is your higher self. Remember, I told you, you can't go back to that creator unless you get to that 7th chakra. So, if I want to hate you, I have to draw strength from my lower self because that's where that energy exists. Everything has a hertz frequency. The heart vibrates at 528 hertz. Hate vibrates at 400 hertz. If I'm at 528 hertz, it's literally impossible for me to feel hate. So this is why Buddhist monks are always peaceful and they feel no pain, they feel no jealousy, they feel no envy because they vibrate at 528 hertz and higher. So they honor their carnal self. Now why is this important? Because from the time you came out the womb, dealing with most of our Negro families and watching TV, all you know is below 528 hertz. That's all you know. Your favorite wrestler is violent. Violent. Everything is violent. Lust, 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 violent. You being programmed mentally to think nothing that can conduct energy that is powerful enough to push you into your heart chakra and above. Now, how is this done? Through unrighteousness. So if you're not righteous, like people say, if you're not good, you're not going to heaven. If you're not righteous, you're not going to heaven. Heaven is in the mind, within your higher self. good, love, righteous, your heart chakra is the key to that. So you got 7 chakras, but it's a balance. You got 3 upper chakras, 3 lower. The heart is the middle way. Just like Buddhist monks say, choose the middle way. So, black people, we ain't choosing no middle way. You stealing, robbing, selling crack, cheating, black woman, everything but a God. Black man, everything but a God. We living down here. So we become susceptible to the intelligences which the host is down here. Now, when you're dealing with TV and you want to deal with radiation, this is what radiation does to a 5-year-old brain. So all of y'all who be talking about something, boy, don't sit down and watch TV. And then you wonder why you can't focus in school. Because you done damn near microwave the boy's brain. Literally. Literally, you done microwave his brain. And it's probably going to take 2 years for his brain to fully replenish itself because you wanted to make him watch Dora because you didn't want to watch your kid. So understand, not only are we opening ourselves up to these frequencies, you're destroying the body itself because you don't want to take part in the natural responsibility that you chose to have because you have a Caucasian mentality because we live in a Western hemisphere of the world where white men just run rapid and run wild. Now, here we go, the devil's pinnacle. Setting up the evil environment part 5. Now that I brought people, black people over here to the most negative level, to the most negative piece of the planet Earth that you can live on, now that I've enslaved them and destroyed their heart chakra so their Taurus energy is vibrating at the minimum that it can ever vibrate ever, now that I've set up GMO foods, grocery stores, I control their natural resources, I control the land, I tell them how fast they can drive, I tell them when they can park, I tell them if they don't pay their rent on the land that I took, I'm kicking them out. Now that I have them under a subconscious stress to even exist for free, to exist unfreely when they're supposed to be able to exist for free, and then I'm programming them how to think through the public school, and I'm programming them how to think through the television. Now I control their imagery, I have to control their audio. So let's get to how your audio is getting controlled. The A432 hertz frequency. Now what's important about the number 432? Physical matter is created at 432. The sun, our sun outside right now, created everybody in here physically at 432 hertz. You have a natural vibrancy of 432 hertz. So now listen what them Caucasians did. And this is from 2014. This is from 2015, September 14th, and this is Walking Times magazine. This is a national magazine. Everybody reads this in America. So, let's go into what this article states. Humankind is largely the unwitting victim of a frequency war on our continent. Once again, humankind is largely the largely unwitting victim of a frequency war on our continent that has been waged for decades, if not millennia. Y'all know how long a millennia is? 1,000 years. 1,000 years. So they're telling you what they've been doing for that. When they came to Africa, what's the first thing they took? That music and that language. Right now, music gets you. Your favorite song come up right now. You might not dance because you're in here with strangers, but you want to. That music influences you. Even in Africa, in the jungles, before we went to war, you play them war drums. And now that you know it's time to get it popping. So the first thing white people do is they said, nope, these niggas is doing too much dancing around here. Give me that. Give me that, because that's a power source. Even when you watch wrestling, you get turned up because when Stone Cold come out, you hear that glass break. And you hear that music. The music invokes the passion. The passion comes from the heart chakra. If I can control the music, I control the power of that heart chakra. Period. Now, let's go on. The goal has clearly been to keep us as gullible and subservient as possible through multifarious means. Now, before I go on, let me read this at the bottom. Music is the language of the universe. Period. The language the universe speaks frequency. It don't speak English. It is being used against blacks in order to disrupt their connection to the Creator, so that they can then be placed on a low vibration in order to be spiritually hijacked. Now, continuing on. In modern history in particular, there has been what Dr. Lynn Horowitz has referred to as the strategic militarization of music. So this is letting you know they're not playing with you at all. It's being used as a military weapon against black people. Now, this happened in 1939 when the tuning of the note A above middle C to 440 hertz was adopted in the world of music. In 1910, an earlier push to effect the same change was met with limited access. 3 decades later, the British Standards Institute adopted the A440 hertz standard following staunch promotion by the Rockefeller Nazi consultorium at a precise time, and World War II preparations were being finalized by the petrochemical, pharmaceutical, war financiers. Y'all know who the Rockefellers is. I don't gotta explain who them is. Okay, so the Rockefellers ain't got no love for you in their heart. So this is, you don't gotta ask why would they change, who changed the frequency, you gotta ask why. Because we know the Illuminati is conjuring spirits. Period. Now, continuing on. This was the year that 840 hertz became the international standard. Do y'all know what international standard means? That means all across the world. That means all across the globe. Not local, not your neighborhood, not your community. That means in Africa, when the radio come on, it's coming out at 440 hertz now instead of 432. Now, why do white people? Because we know you ain't nobody in here British and ain't nobody in here down Rockefeller. So now, why do white people do that on accident? You don't think they knew what they was doing? So now let's continue on. And another piece of this article captures the vibration of sound and state. According to preliminary research analysis and professional discussion by Walton Coyle Reed, 440 hertz frequency music conflicts with human energy centers, aka chakras, from the heart to the base of the spine. Alternatively, chakras above the heart are stimulated. Theoretically, the vibration stimulates the ego and the left brain function, suppressing the heart-mind intuition and creative inspiration. Interestingly, the difference between 440 hertz and 741 hertz is known in musicology as the devil's interval, which I stated before. So why would you internationally put the whole damn world on the devil's interval? Why would you do that if you didn't have a plan for that? So understand it, you're dealing with a diabolical person. Now I want to show y'all. Y'all see this on the let me sit down so I ain't blocking nobody. Y'all see this one right here on the left? This is water being played. This is water and it has a speaker underneath it. And the speaker is playing sound, music, at 432 hertz. Now you can still see the bottom, correctly? Now look on the right when you do the same thing at 440 hertz. Straight disruption and blood, chaos. So this is what you're doing in your chakras every time you play some goddamn music. And you wonder why the kid is acting crazy. Because the right hemisphere of the brain has to do with your consciousness. So if you were playing music at 430, like for example, Michael Jackson played all his music at 432 hertz and everybody loved him because it's a loving sound. So he knew what he was doing. Now, when you play music at 440 hertz, it suppresses the right hemisphere of the brain. Now this is important because the right hemisphere of the brain has to do with your consciousness and your compassion. So now, if I play Future Freak Holes at 432 hertz, even though we like that song, your soul will be like, oh, that ain't right. You know what I'm saying? But you like it, just being real. If I play that same song at 440 hertz like it's being played now, everybody in the club like freak pose, but you're not conscious to the fact to even take 2 seconds to say, hold on, I ain't no freak hole, let me get off there. No, you right out there, women and all that. Freak hole. So you a freak hole? So if I walk up on the street and say, yo, freak hole, what's your number? You gonna want to slap me. But when the music is playing, you just with it because you don't even know this is actually paralyzing your soul. What the frequency is doing is saying, telling your soul, sit down this one, don't you say nothing. Let the ego just handle that. So you never get a chance to actually jump in and say, hold on, I'm not no damn freak hole. So now think about all the music we listen to. Shoot 'em, kill 'em, rob 'em, shoot 'em in the head, gang, bang, 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 bloody, bloody murder. And we listen to it at 440 hertz. So our souls is not never getting the chance to jump in and say, that's not right. So now why is it important? Because this music is putting us below the heart chakra, so now these entities can say, yup, let me jump on him, he was drinking liquor, here I come, he's shooting somebody after this. So, and I broke down in the spirit guide lecture, I wish I could show y'all. They have a machine called an electrosomnographic scanner, where they put it on you, and they had people drink alcohol, and they had 6 people drinking, I had 6 people do it. 4 people drank alcohol, 2 people drank fruit smoothies. The 2 people who drank the fruit smoothies, magnetic field got powerful, they couldn't be touched, and the 4 people who drank the alcohol got possessed by demons. Possessed, not they got possessed. Yes. So alcohol lower, it has what you call it, ions in there that actually cloud, because you know that the alcohol, it's not like you drinking wine. You can sip you some wine, and we ain't talking about wine. You know what I'm talking about. Remy, Henny, y'all know what I'm talking about. You sipping lean, pop, Molly. Y'all know what I'm talking about. You doing it, you probably doing worse than this. You be lucky if you're doing this off some miles. But off of that, the point I'm trying to make is you just saying possession. That's all you're saying. And then you wonder why it's a ritual. Let me tell you something about a ritual. You practice it. It's the same steps. The statistics on black murder is what? Liquor store damn, it's a liquor store at least every 500 steps. Not just that, black people do the most killing after 10 o'clock on either Friday or Saturday, and it's always in an entertainment district of that city. So what's the entertainment district? Music. So you off the liquor got you in your lower self, your music telling you shoot this dude, you in a psychological state of violence because you probably gangbanged, because we all was gangbanging at one point in time. So you already in your ego, did everything that you watch in life. You can't stop watching Shadows. You watch Shadows 900 times. You watch Pay the Full 900 times. So now your mind is already either on aggression or lust. Then you put the liquor in you, attract all these entities that feed off that, and then not only do you feed off that, everybody in the club is feeding off that. And now when the fight jump off and you kill somebody, and then you went above it and you actually didn't mean to do it, now you see people crying in court because it wasn't even you. It wasn't even you. You just got straight played through the media, through the food, and through the beverage. And then through the frequency to suppress your soul so your higher self never had a chance to step in and say, don't do that, bro. All you know is me, what you looking at. What? Bam, bam. Now you in jail forever because you was on 400, you was on the devil's interval. So understand, you being spiritually heightened. It's like we lab rats and they just like, whoop, whoop, push them over here, play that, see what happens. Projects. They ain't called the projects for nothing. Now, here we go. Setting up the evil environment party. Impoverished communities are set up making blacks only successful if they commit negative acts against one another in order to survive. This behavior is then glorified, and blacks are rewarded with fortune and fame for their evil. Once a certain level is reached, blacks are asked to sell their souls. This means to make themselves spiritually negative enough to be possessed by an evil spirit, shown in the next line. Now, see, young girls not going on CNN. They're not gonna put this lecture on CNN. He's going on CNN though. She's going on CNN. This is what we glorify. Why do they glorify this? Because they want to show you, yeah, it's cool to be unrighteous. It's cool to put yourself on a level where you can be possessed. But not just that, I'm going to reward you for doing it so everybody else wants to do it. So the 5-year-old little boy might not want to be young Pharoah because young Pharoah don't seem cool. Now that's whack. Books is whack. He want to be this fool right here because he got 3 baby moms, he got a pistol, everybody respects him, he catching bodies, he's scared, feds know his name, everybody praise him in the hood. So this is who you want to be. But you don't understand, this is what the media is telling your subconscious to attract at 440 Hz frequency. So your consciousness never steps in and says, wait a minute, I don't want to sell no crack to my people and kill my people. What's wrong with me? Ronald Reagan gave us crack, so how am I the white man to turn into? They don't never tell you that. Your subconscious will never tell you, I don't want to kill no black people. White people have been killing us forever. I'm going to hate the white man and then do his job for him. You never get a chance to tell that to yourself because you're being influenced at a frequency that's suppressing your higher self. And then black women, because y'all not off the hook either. Now, this right here. Damn, I've been raped and brutalized over here, put on a sex bomb, just used physically. Now I'm going to get up here and use myself physically for something that don't even exist. Black people were the first people ever sold for this dollar. Now she up there selling her own self for this dollar. So, you see the psychology here? Now, going into that, this is where energy comes from. Power. She has, let's say she got self-esteem issues. You don't know her. I can't judge this queen. You don't know if she was touched when she was 3, whatever. But this might be the only time in her life where she feels like she's loved. Because you got all these niggas over here shooting her at energy. Look at these lustful ass niggas. I mean, excuse my language. Look at these fools. Lustful. Look at him. The hat about to fall off. So, it's the energy. It's the fact that when I get on this stage and I show my body, all attention is on me. She might not have never got no attention her whole life. So we're dealing with energy, but that's not her. Because when we're dealing with psychology, which I'm going to go into, which I'm getting ready to go into, in this field, you have what's in your anus called the basal muscle. Now, this is how they tell people to sell their soul, and I'm going to relate this back to her. They tell celebrities, Depending on, it's only 3 types of people in this world. You either already gay, you super gangster, or you kind of emotional. By emotional, I don't mean gay, but you just in your feelings of it. Like you think emotionally. So you know right from wrong what I'm trying to say. If I was a rapper, they're not going to come and say, Young Pharoah, do something gay, because they know I'm not going for it. They're not going to say, Young Pharoah, come touch a kid, because they know I'm not going for it. They're going to tell me to sacrifice somebody that I love, because that would be the only thing I'm willing to do if I had a tad bit of unrighteousness in me. So, this is what they do. Now, why do they tell you to sacrifice somebody you love? Because you can never heal your chakras from that. Once, like Kanye, after he killed his mom, he ain't been Kanye since. Now he's grown. So now why is it important? If they tell me, Pharoah, sacrifice Jose. For the money, I might be like, man, 10 million, he gone. But after he gone, when every day I wake up, I'm be like, man, I can't live with myself. So now why is it important? I'll never be spiritually strong enough to rise into my heart chakra, so I'll always be a host of this demonic soul that I sold my soul for. So now if you're somebody who not that, if you can't do that, they'll tell you to do something gay, like let us do you in the bus, or you gotta rape a kid. Now why is it important that they tell men to let them get raped or rape a kid? Because in the basal muscle, what happens is you're not supposed to be being penetrated anally at all. Stuff comes out, not supposed to go. Got some freaky people in the world, do what you do, tell them the truth. Now with that being said, what happens is there's a pain that once this basal muscle is ripped, it shoots up the spine. Remember, the spine is the commuter of the chakra energy to the brain. This pain actually shoots up the spine, let's say, unpermitted by the brain. Because when I tell my arm to move, my brain is sending energy down the spine. So energy has no business coming up my spine without the command of my brain. You understand what I'm trying to say? So once you get the basal muscle ripped, boom, energy shoots up the spine. The brain did not tell it to do that. We don't know where this energy is coming from, and it just crashes into the brain like crashing into your continent wall. And what it does is it actually splits the mental continent in 2. So now you have split personalities. So when you look at little kids who get molested, they might be the most high, vibrant, don't sit down, jump off the couch kid. Now he's quiet. He has two personalities now. Now why is it important? It's like playing a game. If you got 1 slot, you only play 1 controller. If you got 2, you play with 2 people. So now I just gave your psychological being 2 slots. So now you go from Nicki Minaj to Martha, and however other many goddamn names she got. So I'm being serious. She's been through the vagal-basal process because I have to give the entity something to host. Now why is this important? Black people are being willingly tricked to give ourselves something to host. I'm gonna give you an example. Her name might be Jessica. That's Jessica. We know Jessica. She grew up on Lil Johnny. That's Big Brendan's and daughter. We know her. But when she on the stage, this is Sweet Cinnamon. Sweet Cinnamon and Jessica is not the same person. I'm being real now. Jessica could not get on that stage and do what Sweet Cinnamon do. So when she turned into Sweet Cinnamon, she had to actually channel that energy to do something that normally she would not be up there doing. Ain't none of y'all in here getting up on it. You ain't gonna come up here right now and get naked and dance. You would have to psychologically prepare yourself to do something you know you ain't got no business doing. So now why is it important? And right here. This is Miss Brenda's other son. This is Michael. We know Michael. But in the streets, this murder, clap, clap. I'm being serious. So now why is it important? Because Michael don't kill people. Murder, clap, clap do. So you have to actually, we are being trained to psychologically give ourselves 2 mental continuums so that we can channel somebody else other than ourselves. So everybody here got nicknames. We ain't got to say nothing. If you young, you run around the streets, we know your man do not call you what your grandma called you. When your grandma called, she say Brandon. When your man called, he was like, yo, murder. So murder and Brandon is 2 different. I'm being serious. They not in your face body. They just sneaky some nanotechnology body. But when we wake up, they're going to get real body. So you got to prepare yourself. But outside of that, y'all, this lecture is to save your life. This is not to play with you. This is not to sound like you. This is not for you to say, say Young Pharoah came to Charleston and it was good. No. Go home and make at least 1 change. At least 1. Watch a little less TV or nothing at all. So with that being said, family, before we slide, I want to let y'all know, after this, I'm going to do Q&A. But at the end of this, I do want to say, support black people. Everybody in here put some money in the white man pocket today, whether they want to admit it or not. Whether you bought a plane ticket, a train ticket, some gas, some chips, some juice. So before you leave, show some love to the village. Not just S.O.S. I don't care if you don't go to mine. But everybody else who came from wherever they came from, just set up, show some love, at least look at it, at least say, brother, I support what you do, I ain't got it right now. But at least acknowledge the business you go, because we gotta acknowledge ourselves, because ain't nobody else gonna do it, and that's just a straight fact. So with that being said, let's do Q&A, and let's go. You can cut that off, please. Got projectors. Good. Questions, answers, hands? Y'all ain't got the guy. Dang. Yeah, because y'all don't be in my inbox like Pharoah. What is it? All right, I'm going to go to this brother first, and then that brother next. Yes.
Yeah, she was talking about the different color of the chakras.
That's right.
Sometimes, like, when I'm sitting in the sun, I look at my skin, I can see the different colors of the chakras vibrating in my skin.
Right.
So that the chakras coming through the sun.
Yeah, that's free. That's your, listen, everything comes from the color of black, but I'm gonna relate that to this to give you the factual foundation of what you're saying. You go to Africa right now, and you go to Africa, I'm talking about not South Africa, go to the core. You see people that that's so black, they look purple. But they made the movie the color purple because it's by its frequency. You got black people who literally would change colors depending upon what emotion they felt. This is documented. So all you're doing is just vibrating your frequency, and then everything is color and perception. So the megahertz level of your brain is so high that you're just being able to see your own energy level that you want. That's it. This is all. It's not focus. Everything is frequency right now. So it's just like you can see my aura with them spirits. I forgot what it's called. It's like a spiritual photography where they got cameras where they can see your whole aura. You just being able to do that right now with your own record. That's it. So it's all factual. Wait, this brother word real quick, and then I got you. Yes.
Yeah, I know you said black people have this substance, the black substance in their brain. I believe it's neuromelanin that white people don't have.
Right.
I wanted to know like exactly what it was and what can I go for, where else I can go to get the pictures with doctors. So the difference.
Caucasians ain't gonna put that in no book.
Okay.
But what you can do is you can go research, you can go research autopsies or surgery or just coroners, people who deal with dead bodies, and go research. Put this in your phone. Go research their testimonies and the differences between black and white bodies. And it's going to be a whole lot of damn differences. But one of the differences you're going to see is they're going to say black people have this liquid in their brain. Like, it looks like somebody spilled oil on our brain. And that's a liquid that's used to transmit thought from here to there, from this physical realm to the spiritual realm. This is why it's called neuromelanin, because it has neurons in it, nerves. Remember the drink, like the video was telling you, anywhere there's nerves, there's electricity. So the brain is actually able to connect with this spiritual self through this liquid, through this thought frequency. So you gotta understand we have this because we are a natural part of creation. Caucasians don't have this liquid because they're not created by the creator, so the creator has no intention on talking to you. What are you doing here? So with that being said, the calcified pineal gland, not only does the Caucasian have, this liquid is contained within the third ventricle of the brain. And what happens is when the Kundalini energy shoots up the spine, that's why it basically stops at 33 degrees, because once the Kundalini energy exceeds the 33rd vertebrae of a Caucasian, it travels into the brain, and it hits the pineal gland, and it opens it up, and it swells like a hood of a cobra. And then the pituitary gland flickers like the tongue of a cobra. This is why Egyptians put the cobra on their head. But the point is, once this pineal gland opens, it's like a valve. So it opens up, and then this liquid begins to come through the pineal gland as if it was coming through a door or a passageway, and spill from the third ventricle to the fourth ventricle, which is right here by the brainstem. And this actually activates your psychic kinetic ability. So this is important because, like I said, masonry stops at the 33rd degree because they don't have this. Because even if the Kundalini energy does shoot up to the pineal gland of Caucasian, it's literally sealed shut. So they literally silk off from the creator. And then the Caucasians who don't have a calcified pineal gland don't have no neuromelanin in their brain. So even when it do open up, ain't nothing to spill out. So they don't have no divine nothing. You know what I'm saying? They have nothing. They ain't got nothing but sunburn and sun cancer. That's it. So this liquid is definitely in existence. They're not gonna put this in no book, bro. When you go, I got medical books this thick. I got a book I just brought on how to do plastic surgery because I'm trying to turn myself into a walking. I'm going to make myself the most intelligent person alive. So I'm everywhere with it. But the point I'm trying to make is even in this plastic surgery book, when you go to the pineal gland, it tells you it has void of use. That's it. You read a medical book, it's going to say this heart does this, teeth does this, pineal gland void of use. It's not going to tell you, so you're not going to get that in the book. You got to get testimonies and do comparisons. Yes.
So when you talk about the nicknames, like as musicians, or like your name is Young Pharoah,
That's right.
do you feel like you have possessed yourself, or is it wrong to? Because you do feel like you changed. Like as an artist, I can speak for myself. I gave myself a nickname. You're not the same person. Like you get some kind of, you get energy.
That's right.
So is that wrong? Like am I demonic when I get on stage?
I mean, it's your intent. Because I was a young girl when I was selling drugs and busting my pistol. And I'm a young Pharoah now while I'm teaching my people and fighting this Caucasian. So my mental intent for myself was different. But the point is, when I was, young Pharoah was not what my mother's name. So this is two different people. When I go to my grandma do not say, hey, young Pharoah. She say my government name. So the person I am in front of my grandma, it's still the same. But you know what I'm trying to say. The perception is different. So it's your intent. When I'm in the streets, if I change my name to Murder, I have to live according to murder. You're not going to be murder in the streets and you ain't murdering nothing. So the point I'm trying to make is your name is like a portal to who you are. And this is why African kings and queens, they have 4 or 5 different names. Because these are just energies that you live according to. So you get your name based upon your actions. So if you fight a lot, we might call you Pharoah. If you got a smart mouth, we might call you Sassy. You know what I'm saying? Your name brings the energy. So it's all about your intent. Now, you personally, I don't believe you have no negative intent, so I would have to say no. But I will still say that it brings about a different aspect of yourself that's not known. So I don't see you. Your mom don't see you as the same person people see you on stage at. So it's 2 different people. So now we have to just deal with who's the other person. Is it right or not? You know what I'm saying? My little brother do not see me as, all y'all be like this young Pharoah. Ooh, my little brother just be like, man, shut up and get out of my room. So it's a who's the other person. So if anything, I would like to speak on for myself and say, if I am, I'm dealing with the answer. That's it. I ain't dealing with nobody I haven't been dealing with. I know that. Because that's not how I'm rocking. My intent is not like that. But we have to admit to the fact, we have to admit that the nickname is an attachment for somebody else or another energy to be channeled. Period. Because if I change your name right down to Freaky, no matter what, after I say that to you enough times, that's the energy you're just gonna manifest. Period. It's just like when we call our women thoughts. Oh, that's a thought. That's a thought. That's a thought. That's a thought. Once your subconscious digests thought and the energy that comes along with that, because energy is just my mental intent. Because if we said thought was a genius with a PhD, all black women would be geniuses with PhD. But since mentally thought is a woman who's loose with her vagina, now you start becoming loose with your vagina. So once your mind digests that energy, by default, you live according to that. This is why they beat, just like if I beat you with a whip, you're going to submit, I can beat you with my words. Words are like water. Matter of fact, I'm going to do a video on it. But words are like water. When you water your plants, they grow. But if your soul is watered by my words. If I keep saying you ugly, you ugly, you ugly, you ugly, you ugly, need weed, after a while, you're going to be like, girl, my hair ain't done. I ain't going outside. Because some of y'all here do it right now. It's all about the perception of the word, or the title that you put to yourself. So we cannot deny the fact that the word, whether it's a gateway period, whether it's for positive or negative, it's a gateway. And if you're going to do it, at least know what you're doing. At least name your damn self Nat Turner, damn it. Do something. Ain't nobody saying don't do it, but if you're going to do it, understand what you do. We have to be real. It's 2016, we got to be real with ourselves. That is, you are creating an alternative state of consciousness for yourself. Damn it, let it be positive. So if you're going to make a name, be Nefertiti. Don't be Freaky Sarah. So, but yeah, got you. Like that.
With that being said, then what would be the dynamics of the names that we were born? Are we in a paradigm that's really not our authentic self?
That's right.
And you know what I'm saying? So when it comes to us, we have to, for me, I was led to rename myself. And so would that be the authentic self? Because I renamed myself, because when we're born, we don't have a choice.
Right.
You know, to name ourselves. So with that paradigm, is that wise? You don't know?
Yes, because we live in an alternate reality. You live in a European construct. This room is not African. This is what was in a European's mind. These colors in these rooms was in a European mind. The fact that this is in the church comes from a European mind. So if I take a pair of shoes and I design some shoes and I call them the Pharaohs, and you put them on and you enjoy them, you're just doing nothing more than enjoying what I thought of. Where's your own reality? So when you were born, your parent named you Johnny, Martha, Sarah, Bill, they're actually just putting you on a frequency of the oppression. You never have an African chance. You come out the womb according to what the Caucasian has thought of. So remember, you can only experience what you think. You never get a chance to think. Because somebody else already thinking for you. Because they got a plan for you. So by you renaming yourself, it's a subconscious means to try to break free from slavery. Everybody, I renamed myself Young Girl when I was 15. And this is because, like, I had this period on my neck since I was 15. Like, I've been conscious I was 15. All this Anubis, all this, you would have seen me bust my gut, and you would have seen Anubis on my arm like this. So the point I'm trying to make is, when I was glorifying it, is when I seen a piece of myself that was great in history, and I started learning a little bit I did at that time, I said, that's my Pharoah. I don't care what y'all think. I was the only, I remember going to high school and girls would be like, you really think you Pharoah? You really think you Pharoah? Because that's who I became. So it's a subconscious part of yourself that knows it's living disaccording to his higher self, and it want to break away. So for black people to want to rename themselves, that's natural. Because we're trying to get back out of the unnatural state. So I wouldn't deny, I'm in full accordance with you. But I just want us to be conscious of what we're doing so we can do it correctly. Because originally what we used to do, we didn't name our kids. Because the original language was telepathy, if you want to be real. Nobody spoke nothing. The fact that you even use your fifth chakra shows that you're a lower being. So the megahertz frequency of your brain is not working right. So the point I'm trying to make is, originally how we named our children was, you didn't name your child. You watched the way they behaved by the time they got to age 7, and then you named them off what they did. So you named them according to who they were, not to who somebody else had already named them. So that's what we got to get back to. But we live in a time right now where you might have to name your kids people they conscious, and you can't wait 7 years until you show behavior, because immediately, if that's the case, you're going to be naming them Chicken, Door, Explorer, Power Rangers, and Wrestling. Because that's how you act, because that's all they watch. Back here, and then I'm going to come right across. I got you.
Do you think that it's possible to vibrate higher than the heart chakra and still have a profession in music?
Yes. Yes, you can. But do you think it's possible that people will want to listen to that? That's the question. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. But we're just going to see who sells more albums. You, Lupe Fiasco versus Future, who win the Grammy. So it's not about you. It's about, is the world on your frequency? You know what I'm trying to say? Do you know that I'm giving life-saving information? And do you know that Future has more people in his crowd than I have in mine? Because of the frequency. So it ain't about that, queen. You can vibrate higher than the ground. You can astral project out your body and come knock everything over and show us who you are. That don't mean everybody else gonna care. So the point is, this is why, like for example, boom, I be making music now, but I stay on a level to where I can still snatch the youth. So I still look like you, and I'm doing something. I'm telling you something positive in a way you think is wrong, and I still got you. So I know how to deal with the freak. I know how to basically manipulate you. I'm gonna stroke your ego, and you're gonna be like, oh, I like this, and then I'm gonna kill you. So with that being said, that's how we gotta play with frequency. So if you go outside talking about something, eat fruits and vegetables, I might give it a shot. I might be like, yeah, I know you got some nice vocal, but everybody's gonna be like, freak pose. So it's all about frequency. Yes, brother.
Well, I already touched on as I looking at the videos. I guess my question is, I'm very interested in kind of, getting fixated on the whole idea that of Nebula or Planet X from I guess, Western perspective with NASA and all the information or some information they give out with that and what scholars like yourself talk about. Do you think it's behooving the black people to, I guess, gravitate or research or reach out to quote unquote that ancestor part or that entity, or really look into that as relates to connecting with that? And I say this because I've heard your videos on astral projection and your contact with ancestors, and I can relate to it to a large extent. Seeing just seeing figures and seeing things out there when nobody else can see it or nobody else may be able to bear witness to it in my immediate circle, but definitely seeing it and witnessing it. Do you think it's behooving the black people to gravitate not only, you know, what's going on down here, but more getting in touch with that ethereal and that astral side of you know, these things coming about, like us entering the Aquarian age, and being able to be contacted by ancestors. Also, you know, again, it made me more of a, I guess, made me more gravitate towards dreams I had with, you know, coming into contact. So it's a question, but if you can just expand on those notions, that would be appreciated.
No, that's right. And before I answer this, because I want to answer your question, I'm going to show you. If everybody's willing, after the Q&A, I will show y'all Glenn and Nibble on the projector. Y'all got a little 20 minutes. All right, I got y'all next. I'm going to answer the brother real back. That is the only way we get out of the situation. If we contact the ancestors. But we have to de-spookify. This is why I broke down metaphysics in the beginning, so I can show you that white people was dealing with this. You know what I'm saying? So, like NASA just sent a damn signal out of space, a distress signal. But who they call? Because this ain't your plan. Try the white man on this planet somehow we need help. Get me where they help.
Royal.